Yeah, it's been a frustrating week for sure. I mean, it was great. Obviously the week got started off great, but some of these injuries, you just can't. It's part of it, obviously, and we do everything we can from a. I think we have a really good sports science team, built of about 5 different people, covering a lot of different facets. We're really in tune to that. We really are very, very diligent to load management and what we need to do to help put our guys in the best position, from an athletic standpoint and a freshness standpoint, while still getting the work done that you got to get done. And so it's an unfortunate deal. Raleigh, just don't know exactly how this is going to all play out. Both Raleigh and Lawson are doing tests as we speak. And seeing the appropriate medical personnel. Raleigh's, I think, just more of a, I guess something kind of happened in the UCLA game and went through some things throughout the week. And quite frankly, we thought there was a good chance he was going to be able to play on Sunday, but obviously that didn't work out. So we'll see how his testing and everything goes today. And Lawson, you're 3 minutes into the game, right? And it's unfortunate. Lawson, I thought, was really starting to play. I mean, Lawson does some things that certainly don't show up in this at a very high level. He's one of our best defensive players. Now, does he make all the highlight reel plays that Cabo makes? No, he's different, right? He's very different. But he, I think, is an elite defender. And he covers up a lot of mistakes for our team, and he's done that part all year. And so, with those two guys all of a sudden out on the snap of a finger, it certainly changes some things. And we really had to get into our bench, and that's why guys got to always be ready to roll. We're in a tough spot right now because we had the one loss of a scholarship guy early on, and then Will obviously out for the year, and now these two guys. We'll see what happens, if they're going to be able to play on Thursday or Sunday, or not. So I think we'll know a lot more by the end of the day, and certainly tomorrow. So they came in and did all the training they needed, or all the recovery and all that kind of stuff yesterday, but now they're seeing who they need to see, and hopefully we'll get some feedback here by the end of the day.
Coach, Devin Smith made his first start in the last game, and no big deal, just goes out and records just the fourth triple-double for the Running Utes since 97, 98. How big is that to have a guy that's coming in, that transfers in, and to go get a triple-double in his first start? How huge is that for your team going forward?
Yeah, that Davon did some really, really good things. First and foremost, we took care of the ball. We had 5 turnovers on the night. I think a lot of that is obviously Davon. The ball's in his hands the majority of the time, and they pick up pretty full court, and they really do some things to help to make it life very, very difficult on Gabe and on Cole. So I thought he did some great things. I mean, obviously you see him going and attacking rebounds. That was something that, between him and Wooster, those are 2 elite rebounding guards, which we need. He plays at a great pace. And obviously we put the ball in his hands. He made a lot of really, really good decisions for us. So, he's got to keep getting better with some things, which he will. He's a veteran guy. I believe he was a top 50 recruit out of high school. So there's a lot of things that he can do, and I think he's starting to settle in, right, to knowing how we play, what we're trying to accomplish, the things that we're trying to do. And so he played 32 minutes, which is certainly the most minutes he's played here. And hopefully he can continue to do that moving forward and keep on getting better and better. But you're starting to see certainly some things that he can do specifically on the offensive end.
With your lineups now, how do you kind of mix and match that, knowing that it's impacted both in your bigs and in your guard play? Have you kind of settled on where you're at if those 2 guys aren't able to play?
Yeah, my eyes probably look a little more black than they've looked in quite some time. But it is, you're constantly we're redefining ourselves, certainly, as we go. And we do it on our front line. We do have some depth, certainly, and that'll be tested now. And the good news is like Caba's got to work hard. Like Caba's been good. I thought he wasn't great, on Sunday. Thought he was really good against UCLA, but got to work hard without fouling. Got in early foul trouble again. Got 2 quick fouls. That hurts us, right? And so he's got to be able to play hard without fouling. BC obviously he's played the 5 his whole career, and Ben is very comfortable. Started every game last year, played a lot of minutes. But it's still hard to play with just 3. Luka's going to have to get some time in there. And I thought Luka's short, what he played 6 minutes or just under that. I thought he gave us some good minutes on both sides of the ball. He's a savvy guy. Now on the offensive end, obviously Davon, Cole Gaber are going to be your core. And I thought Hunter played very well against UCLA and had a good week of practice. He's got to continue to keep moving forward that way. And Jaden Teet's going to play. I mean, Jaden's a feisty guy. I think he's a competitor. The good news is Jaden never has a bad practice. Like or very rarely, like he shows up ready to compete on a day-to-day basis. So he's been very locked in. Like for a guy that's very rarely played, like he knows our sets. He knows what we're trying to accomplish. He knows our terminology. And he competes hard. And obviously we played him in there down the stretch. He's a very good shooter and good decision maker. So he's going to play. So it's that's 9 guys right there, and you got to be able to depend on. I feel like our bench has done a good job of staying engaged and motivating. They're getting good reps in practice. It's not like they're over there sitting there, So that's the good part is they've been engaged, and I feel like it's obviously different when you go play a game. But we do a lot of competing in practice, a lot of 5s, so I do feel like although they don't have maybe the synergy with some of our top guys, they've had to compete on a day-to-day basis, and I think that really matters. But last thing, but without those 2 guys, we just had about a 2-hour meeting. Like you're kind of, I don't want to say redefining yourself, but guys are in different roles, so guys got to be able to, right? And we got to play through some different people. The other night we really played through Davon a lot, and it showed obviously with those numbers.
Obviously, if Raleigh's missing any other more time, he's always been a huge facilitator for you. How have you kind of seen Davon progress as a facilitator?
Yeah, Davon's been outstanding. He's a pillar of our program, right? Like he impacts winning in so many ways, and certainly with Raleigh, you see it in the stat sheet when like he's a stat stuffer in terms of 10, 11 points and 5 or 6 rebounds and 5 or 6 assists, and I think he's been 1 rebound or 1 assist away from a triple-double 3 or 4 times, and so. But he's also just a stabilizing force for your team, and he guards the other team's best player every night. Like we really missed him on Lawson and Raleigh are 2 of our best defenders, if not our 2 best defenders, and so there were some things, and it showed the other night. We weren't great on the defensive end, but that's part of it, and you got to get to the next guy. So with Davon and Raleigh, Raleigh obviously playing primarily point guard his whole career. And now when those 2 played together, we played those 2 together a lot once Davon came back. And it was nice because you could kind of alternate, and you're really playing with 2 point guards. Turnover numbers went way down. Decision-making, I thought, went way up. I thought everybody was getting the share of the ball. We were really selfless with the ball, all in all. And so, and now without Raleigh, obviously the ball's in Davon's hands primarily. Gabe has taken a big step forward, I think, with some of his playmaking ability off the bounce. He's not just a specialist anymore, but still he has room to grow in that area, right? So Davon becomes really our true primary playmaking guard on our team, and so I feel like he's got very good feel. I've said that from the start with him this summer. Not only seeing him playing in Spain, but also just our practices. His numbers from last year, in my opinion, I didn't think correlated to what he really could become. Now, you got to go prove it in games, and that's the nice part. I think he's getting better. I thought he really got better from that Arizona trip to this week with UCLA, and Stanford, and we're going to need him to continue to climb and be even better as we progress through Pac-12 play.
Oregon's always kind of been that elusive program for
Yeah.
Before your time and like,
Yeah.
what is it about them, and kind of what is your focus? I know there's Sunday, you got to work
Yeah.
State first, but kind of what is it about them that makes them so difficult for maybe you guys?
I can't. I mean, the numbers are. I think we've only beaten them 2 times in Pac-12 play, if that's right. I remember that my first year I was 1 time. I was astounded by that when I got here, but it's always kind of stuck in my head because obviously we haven't beat them since I've been here, so 0-4. So I can't speak to prior to that. A lot of times I just view that stuff as flukish. But first of all, I look at it like, well, they've been very good. They've been a premier program in this league. So I think it starts there. Dana Altman does a great job. They always accumulate a ton of talent. I mean, they're loaded with talent. And this year's no different. Now, credit to them. Biddle has been out for a while. And Infale Dante has been out, who had he was unbelievable. I thought he was so good last year. But, the year before that, he was hurt. So they're very athletic. They're very physical. They're very strong. They're built like a great team is. They have a lot of versatility. They can play a lot of different ways, and it shows with those 2 guys being out. They haven't missed a beat. I mean, they played in the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls against Syracuse and I think they lost by 20 or right around then, and they've been very good since then. So they adapt, they adjust. They have a ton of playmaking ability. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. They're shooting the ball very, very well this year. At the same time, they can beat you off the bounce, right? And then they're always going to have to guard, or you're just not going to play. So, I just felt like we've really gotten hurt in the paint over the last couple of years. I thought last year, if I remember right, and I haven't watched our game against them last year, but I have watched 2 of their games in preps. I always try to work ahead. They're physically imposing. They smashed us on the offensive boards last year. We actually did a decent job, I thought, defending them, but then they get second and third opportunities. And so they can hurt you in a lot of different ways, and they're very physical and very athletic, and we have to match up to that.
Coach, you have the 2 Oregon teams, Oregon State, Oregon, coming in this week, but so far Pac-12 play, and so far really, and over the course of the season, the Huntsman Center has been kind of like your fortress at home. So like, how huge is it to get those 2 teams like here at home, in front of the fans, in front of this fan base? Like, how huge is that to have these 2 teams play them at home?
Yeah, I mean, we've played well at home. Certainly, we've played a lot better at home than we have on the road. And I mean, we've played better at home, and we have not performed like we need to on the road. There's no doubt about that. We have to get better on the road. But you got to take care of business at home. When you look at Pac-12 play, I mean, look at Arizona again, right? Arizona loses at Stanford. Arizona loses the other night at Washington State. Seems to be a theme, right? And it seems to be a theme all around the country. Quite frankly, I forget the number this week of top 10 teams and top 20 teams losing all on the road.
Yeah, 3 top 5 teams all lose it on the road.
Yeah, so it seems like it's just been a theme of college basketball this year. A lot of parity. It's a ton of parity, a lot of close games. Expect the unexpected, right, as they say. So we got to take care of business, this weekend. We got to, when I say this weekend, right, this home set on Thursday and different playing on a Sunday at 1 o'clock. So we got to do what we got to do. But we just got to worry about putting our best foot forward. Like, this is a big week, but it's a big week because if we don't have Wooster, we don't have Lovering, and that's my mindset until I hear otherwise. Like, we gotta fine tune some stuff, right? And put our guys in the best position to succeed, and come up with different ideas. And it's on both ends of the floor, right? On both ends of the floor. Oregon State throws a lot of things at you. They always have. They mix up their defenses. Anything you can do on the basketball floor, they do it, right? They're also one of those teams that has the most sets, if you want to say. Like, they run a lot of different stuff. So they put you in a lot of different positions. And so we got to be on point with it. And now we're going to be on point with it potentially with some guys that haven't had a lot of real game experience. So that is the silver lining is we've played a lot better at home. And we got to be able to find a way to take care of business at home, no matter who's on the floor.